All right, guys, Wager Detective here. It is May 7th, 2026. We're going to cap this Baltimore Orioles versus my Florida Marlins game, Miami Marlins. We're going to take a look at it. It's going to be a surface level cap and trying something new. It's been working just as good as the deep dives that Wager Detective does on his other caps on a game. And just a surface level, just seeing what's going on, looking at starting pitching, and then coming up with a decision at the end of the video. So we're looking at the Orioles here, and we see that they're in the position to sweep the Marlins, right? And then they're going to be back home tomorrow for a six-game homestand against the Athletics and the Yankees. But if we look at them, let's take a look at what they've done this year. Let's go to their night games on the road this year and take a look and see what they've done this year. Okay, so they are 2-1, 2-2, 2-3, 3-3, 3-4, 4-4, 4-5, 5-5 in night games at home. Night games on the road, excuse me. So 5-5 night games on the road, and they just won the last two. So immediately, Wager Detective starts seeing a pattern there. You're 5-5 in night games on the road, and you've just won two in a row, right? So maybe here we might be thinking about the Marlins. Even more so because what do sharps like to do? They like to bet against the sweep, especially when the team that's on the road is looking to sweep the team at home. Okay, and if we look at their wins, Chicago White Sox there, Cleveland had just one win there, Kansas City win-loss. Okay, New York loss at New York, and then Miami last two games they win. Okay, and if we look at them this year, they're 17-20. I like this team. I mean, they have some talent. If we look at their roster, and we'll get into that, but if you look at what they're doing, got swept by the Yankees, and now they're on the road, and now they're looking to try to finish off this road trip strong before heading back home, where they're again on this road trip. They're only 2-4. So for them, a win is very important. So in this spot, let's take a look and see what the over-under is. The over-under is sitting at 8.5. We're going to look at these pitchers, Povich versus Meyer. Initial thought is if I'm trying to win on the road here, and I got to play tomorrow, and I'm going to be playing my conference or the American League, I'm going to be trying to maybe get in and out as best I can if I'm a manager. I'm not going to try to go through my bullpen because I know I got a game tomorrow. I got a six-game homestand. I'm trying to conserve my bullpen. Starting pitchers are probably going to know that. If we look at their last 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we go over that. 18, 23, 29, 33, 46, 53. So they're averaging 5.3 runs per game over their last 10. And then their opponents 8, 19, 22, 29, 38, 49, 59, 61, 72. So their opponents are averaging 7.2 runs per game over their last 10 games. And if you look at the last two games that they beat Miami, they're averaging 8 runs a game to about 5.5. If you add those together and divide by 2. So they're swinging a hot bat, right? And they came into the series with the Miami where they gave up the 12 runs in that last game in New York. So what I'll do is I'll look to see what they do on the last game of a homestand. If I was doing a deep dive, I would go back more than just the games that I'd go back a year or two. But we're just doing a surface level cap, which should maybe give you a feel for who's going to win this game. Okay, so their last games of a home trip this year, they 5-3 and then 8-6. So they've won both games this year on the last game of a home trip. The White Sox and the Royals, which are pretty much comparable to what Miami is, and we'll get into that in a little bit. Now, if we look at who's going to be pitching tonight, let's take a look at the preview here. We got Cade Povich on the mound. He is 1-1 on the year, 4.41 ERA. But if we go into a look to see what he's done, he's only got 2 starts this year. I think he's coming off injury. He's got a 6-2 win against the Giants at home, and then he has a loss at the Yankees. So his team is 1-1 in his last 2 starts. He is coming off of a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, a 5-game rest here. So if I was doing a deep dive, I would go into his to what he's done on his 5 days rest on the road recently. But he's given up 6 runs in 10.2 innings. If we want to look at the calculator here, 6 runs times 9 equals divided by how many innings do we got there? 10.2, so that's 10.36, 10.2. He's got a 5.29 ERA, right, over his last 2 starts. So that's not really good. So the advantage is starting to build for the Marlins in this game. They're trying to avoid the sweep. Baltimore not playing really that well over their last 10 games. They're giving up a lot of runs against better teams than maybe they're going to see tonight in Miami. But again, Miami is probably going to be up for this game, considering the fact that they're looking at getting swept. Let's take a look at Miami here. And before we do that, let's look at the last 10. So Miami is 2-1, 2-2. Baltimore is 2-0, 2-2, 3-2, 4-2, 4-4. Baltimore 6-4 last 10 against Miami. Let's take a look at these totals here. 16, 27, 38, 45, 55, 57, 62, 68. Orioles are scoring 6.8 runs per game over their last 10 versus the Marlins. Let's see what the Marlins have done. 11, 12, 14, 23, 26, 31, 35. So they're clearly beating them. 3.5 for the Marlins over the last 10 meetings with the Orioles. So it seems to be that the Orioles score pretty well when they face these guys. And if you look at the all-time series, Miami does lead 32-17. Over the last couple years, both teams, Miami's won the series 2-1 over the last 2 years, and then Baltimore's up 2-0 here. So that's something to keep in mind. Let's take a look at the Marlins here. See if we can get a feel for this game. Okay, so the Marlins, we see here they're 16-21, not a real good team. Clayton McCullough, don't know too much of him as a manager, but if we look at their year, they've had stretches. Look at that, 3 losses in a row, 3 losses in a row, 2 losses, and right now they're on a 4-game slide. The Marlins are coming into tonight's game. They are going to be staying at home playing Washington for a 3-game set after this game, and that game is going to be tomorrow as well. So both teams are going to have no rest going into the weekend for a weekend series. If we look at their last 10 games, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The Marlins are only 3-7 in their last 10. So this cap is coming back to the Orioles, even though Cade Povich has got a 5+ ERA over his last 2 starts. And team record is 1-1 for Povich in those games. But we look at the Marlins, 7, 9, 12, 17, 21, 23, 34. 3.4 runs per game over their last 10, where their opponents for the Marlins are scoring 11, 12, 14, 20, 28, 35, 44. So 4.4 runs per game for the Marlins opponents over the last 10. And it has come against pretty good opponents, right? They played the Dodgers 3 times, beat them twice, 2 out of 3, and then played the Phillies where they went 1-3, and then before this series, so they went 1-3 of the Phillies before this series, and then they're 0-2 in their last 2 versus Baltimore at home. So not a team that you're really jumping out the window to try to go bet. We're going to take a look at the pitching matchup here, see who's on the hill, on the bump for the Marlins. We got Max Meyer. Okay, so he is 2-0 this year, but let's go back to here. Let's go back to the beginning of the year. All right, because he's pitched a lot of games this year. Now, if we look at this, he has a win against the Rockies, right? His team has a win against the Rockies when he pitched 5 innings, right? Not really impressive there. Okay, lost at the Yankees 7-9. Okay, so that's 1-1. beat the Reds 8-1. They hit for him there, right? So his team is 2-1 as a starter there. No decision. He loses at the Braves, 5-6. They're hitting for him, right? So they're putting up runs. Okay, so he's 2-2. Or no, sorry. Let's go back to this. So 1-0, 1-1, 2-1. Okay, 2-2. Plays the Cardinals, wins there, so his team is 3-2 in his starts. 3-3. And then he beat the Phillies. So his team is 4-3 in his starts this year. He's played some tough competition. They've hit him pretty good, all the teams that he's played except the Phillies. He gave up no earned runs. So over his last 3 starts, 17.1 innings pitched, only 2 earned runs given up. He's got a 2.68 ERA on the year, which tells me that teams are getting to the Marlins after he's out of the game. If we look at, so he's given up 2 earned runs in his last 12, 14.1. So let's do the math on that. Okay, 2 times 9 equals divided by 14.1. He has a 1.27. He has a 1.27 ERA over his last 3 starts. Okay, against pretty good competition, right? Phillies, not bad. Giants, but I would say the Giants probably got a better or equal lineup to the Marlins, and then the Cardinals are swinging a hot bat, and he only gave up 2 earned runs there. So he pitched on the 2nd, so that's 3, 4, 5, 6. He's going to be on 4 days rest, but he only pitched 83 pitches in his last start, his last outing, so he should be ready to go. He's looking pretty good. I think this is a spot where the cap kind of comes back to the Marlins. I mean, can they score? And they've showed that they can. I think in a game like this, you might want to lean towards the Marlins' first 5 from the cap. Let's take a look and see what that line is. They are minus 130 on the money line. Let's see where they are for the first 5. You expect them to come out and play, jump on them, try to come out early after losing the first 2 games. First 5 innings. Okay, they got the Marlins plus 102 on the money line. And then they got the tie. If it's tied, they're giving you plus 470. So the book is giving you a little bit of an understanding here that the Marlins could be the play in the first 5. And from what I'm seeing and how good this guy Max Myers is pitching over his last 3, and they're trying to avoid the sweep, and Cade Povich doesn't have a really great ERA, I would lean this cap to be called the Marlins first 5 plus 102. That's going to be Wager Detective's call on this game. I don't know about full game because I think once the bullpen gets in there for the Marlins, this could turn either way late. But if I'm going to look at it first 5, I would say Miami is the play here. This is Wager Detective's call, May 7th, 2026. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Set alerts for Twitter. And more than anything else in the whole wide world, guys, Wager Detective loves all his fans. I'll talk to you soon.